A lot of people have huge shoulders, incredible arms, and massive legs, even though that is hard to believe as well, but they have a chest flatter than a working desk. Well, I used to be that guy, just without huge shoulders, incredible arms, and definitely not massive legs, just a guy with no muscle, with big goals and determination to get bigger. So that's where my chest growing journey started. I tried it all, from home workouts to calisthenics to going to the gym, and after so much try and error, and after 2 years of not seeing any improvement in my chest size, I have finally cracked the code. I focused on these 6 things and grew my chest from this, flat looking on the left side, to the meaty full chest I have on the right side. So let's dive into what exactly I did. Step number 1 being starting off your chest days with some kind of pre-exhaustion sets. And I like to do 2 sets of 20 reps on the pec deck at around 60% effort. That is going to allow me to put a lot of blood flow in my chest without exhausting myself or fatiguing myself. And that's going to be crucial going on into our heavier compound lifts. Heavier compound lifts activate multiple muscle groups at once, our triceps, our shoulders, our chest, and the main goal here is put as much tension as possible on our chest, have a really good mind-muscle connection, and work our chest in those movements. And if we start with the pre-exhaustion sets, that is going to allow us to just that. For years, I went into my chest days and I started off with heavy compound lifts, even going for a PR, and my chest barely grew, because that's not the point. The point is not lifting really heavy weights. The point is lifting heavy weights while feeling our chest working, because I went into my lifts and most work were done through my shoulder and triceps, and that's not good. We want to focus on our chest mainly. That's why we're going to exhaust it a little bit, and we're going to have a much better mind-muscle connection when going through the movement. Which brings me to tip number 2, and that's stop bench pressing and start focusing on incline movements. Bench press might be one of the most famous movements for building chest, but it's not one of the best movements for building size. You see, a lot of people have underdeveloped upper chest. And the way we're going to fix this is by a few steps. And the first thing is going to be switching to dumbbells. Dumbbells are going to allow us to have a much deeper range of motion, prevent injury because we can adjust how it feels comfortable to us, and they're going to activate those stabilizing muscles, which are also great for building your chest. Now, when we are performing incline movements, we want to put our bench at 15 to 30 degrees just to have the biggest upper pec activation. And lastly, studies have shown that the incline press has the same impact on our lower chest as the flat presses, but with a much bigger impact on our upper chest. And this is crucial for chest development. This brings me to tip number 3, and that's going to be stop overtraining your chest. I see a lot of you guys go into your chest workouts and do 5 sets for 5 exercises. And trust me, that is really too much. You want to be focusing on doing around 3 exercises and 3 sets for each of those exercises. That's kind of going to be the sweet spot. I like to do 16 to 18 reps per week for my chest spread across 2 days, which means 8 to 9 sets per day for my chest workouts. This is going to allow me to up the intensity with lowering my volume, and that's going to allow me to not be fatigued throughout my workout. If you do 5 sets for 5 exercises to failure on every single set, that means that you are going to be really exhausted at the end of the exercise, which means that you are most likely going to have to drop your weight because you don't have enough power output to put into that set. That's not good. We don't want that. So let me give you a sweet spot for me. I like to do 3 sets of really heavy incline dumbbell press. Then I move on into some kind of flying movement. It might be with dumbbells or with cables or pec deck, whatever. Just do again 3 sets. And this one we're going to be focusing more on 12 to 15 reps. And then I like to finish off with 2 or 3 sets on some kind of flat press. It might be sitting machine flat press, or it might be some kind of push-ups to failure, just to really finish off my chest. That approach has helped me build the most amount of gains, and I always feel like I have done a really good workout doing it like that. Which brings me to mistake number 4, and that's start prioritizing your stretch position. Studies have shown that the lengthened partial position, which is the stretch position, builds much more muscle than the shortened part, which is when we squeeze our chest. Now, when we're performing flies, we really don't want to stop here just because we can do more reps. No, we really want to stretch it far back, as far as possible, as far as our chest allows to, without feeling any pain. And then, when we wrap it out, we are going to be able to touch our hands with it, but after some reps, that might not be possible anymore. And a lot of people are going to stop there, but we're not going to do this, because we know that the stretch position builds much more muscle. So we're going to rep out partial reps, so as far as you can, but you don't have to touch your hands, and then really focusing on the stretch part, because that's why we're doing this, to actually stretch it out just a little bit more and rep out as much as possible. And when you can't rep out one single rep anymore, so you can't move your arms anymore, that's when you know you're done. That's when you know you have killed your chest and you have optimized your muscle gains, because you have prioritized your stretch position, and at the beginning of the exercise you have also squeezed at the top. You have just milked out everything from your chest. That's the crucial part. Which brings me to mistake number 5, and that's control the movement. A lot of people go into the chest exercises and just focusing on the pressing part. But let me tell you, the eccentric part is as equally as important. The eccentric part means the negative. So when you are lowering your bar, I'm not asking you to go for 5 seconds negatives, because that's useless. I want you to just control the weight when you go on the way down. So don't just let it fall on your chest, because that's not going to give you anything. When you are just skipping this part of the movement, I'm telling you, you're losing 50% of your gains, because 50 is here and 50 is here. And it's equally as hard to control the negative as it is pushing it up. Okay, it's not, it's much easier to control the negative, but you know what I'm trying to say. Controlling the negative is also building muscle. I have seen studies showing that only if you control the negative on your pull-up, so you jump up and just do the negative, a lot of beginners see over 60% more muscle growth and see much better improvement in their pull-ups by just doing that. So if that doesn't prove it, I don't know what will. So the negative part, really important. You don't have to do 4 or 5 seconds, just control it on the way down and press it back up. Now, the last mistake, progressive overload. It might seem simple, it is, but a lot of people make a lot of mistakes. Progressive overload means increasing weight or reps in the exact same circumstances. So that doesn't mean lowering your rest times or increasing sets or switching up your form. No, you want the same rest time, same amount of sets, same form, but increased weight or reps. This is where a lot of people do it wrong, because they add supersets, they add drop sets, they decrease their rest times. That's not progressive overload. You want to be able to track your progress. Now, how are we going to do this? It's pretty simple. Let's say you're doing incline dumbbell press. When you're incline dumbbell pressing, you have your desired rep range. So let's say it's 5 to 9 reps, because we are trying to go really heavy here. You are doing 5 reps for 3 sets. All right, you're not increasing any weight, you're increasing your reps. You go up to 8 reps, still not increasing any weight. And then let's say you come to the upper threshold of your desired rep range. It's 9 reps. And you perform 997 reps. You are still not going to be increasing any weight. But then the next week you might do 1099 reps. That's when you increase the weight. That's when you know, all right, I have hit my upper threshold, now I can increase the weight. You add 2.5 pounds, rep it out again. And that's how you progressively overload. You are staying safe because you are performing at the exact same form. I do not want to see changing you up the form. The form has to stay the same. You're not shrugging your shoulders, you're not trying to push through your triceps. The form is exactly the same, you're trying to push through your chest. That's what we are building here. We are building our chest up, not our triceps, not our shoulders. We are not trying to build up our weight. We are trying to build up our chest. So focus on the same form and just perform the movement. It doesn't matter that the other guy is smaller than you and lifting more. Trust me, he doesn't feel his chest when he actually performs the exercise. You do. That's the most important part. You're going to be the bigger guy because you are actually focusing on building what matters. And then you're going to track it. You're going to track it on your phone, and you're going to see every single week how much you lifted and how are you improving. That's how progressive overload is done. Track your weight, know how much you're lifting, see how much improvement you're doing, increase your reps, increase your weight, don't change anything else. Changing anything else doesn't make it progressive overload, you're just switching up your training style. These are all the tips I have for you guys. Those tips took me a really long time to discover, but once I did, I skyrocketed my chest growth. I really hoped it helped you out. If it did, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It will absolutely mean the world to me. And if you want to see similar videos and you have any recommendations, leave it down in the comments. I will read them and I will do a video that you guys recommend. Thank you for watching. It was a pleasure, and I catch you in the next one.